All right, guys, if your car is like my truck is, you got a bunch of swirl marks and scratches and things like that, I need to get a paint correction. And you probably do too, which is why I'm here with Nick from DNA Auto Detailing, who is going to walk us through the process of what we're going to do to this truck and what it can do for the paint or even your car if you decide to get one. Nick, I really appreciate you being here and taking care of my truck.
It's a pleasure to be here.
What is the condition of the truck? What do you think? Be honest. How bad is it?
Well, to be honest with you, I've seen far worse, and I think absolutely it could benefit from a even just one stage or two-stage paint correction. Today we're going to be doing, I don't want to call it a standard wash, but we're going to be washing the truck first. Afterwards, we're going to be decontaminating the paint with a clay bar just to remove anything that a wash won't. And afterwards, once it's dry and inside, we're going to do a mild compound of the paint with a Rupes gear-driven polisher. And then afterwards, we're going to refine the paint with a polish and a foam pad. And put hand coat of ammo blush ceramic wax on the paint. And I think it's absolutely going to make this cherry red look amazing in just how you're expecting it to.
I'm super excited. I'm going to let you get to it, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when it's all done.
Absolutely. Couple neat tips on drying. So what I'm using is a Griots Garage twisted loop XL drying towel. And the reason I like this is because these are super duper absorbent. And I like them to start on the windows just to get the windows nice and dry so that you have minimum chance of any water stains or any additional water stains you might induce. So I always like to get the glass clean first. That's also one of the reasons why, you know, even though the car's clean and we're drying it now, it's always good to be paying attention to where your towel's at, because you can catch that in your towel and possibly not know it, or your wash mitt, and it can scratch the paint. It's just another reason to always be mindful of what you're doing in detailing.
A few moments later.
So now the car is all washed, well, I should say the truck is all washed and dried now. We're getting ready to clay bar the paint to decontaminate it right before we start compounding and polishing. There's a little bit of debate or preference versus clay mitts or clay bars. I don't have the right answer for you. Every application or preference is different, but I prefer a clay bar, a putty like this. It's not brand new, but typically a clay bar like this can do anywhere from 15 to 20 cars, of course if you don't drop it. And you want to knead it into sort of this like maybe like palm-sized putty, just so that you have complete control within your hand. And the reason I like clay bars versus clay mitts is because when I've used clay mitts before, I feel like there's particular pressure points in places where you put more pressure than others. Whereas when I use this clay bar, and I'll just demonstrate here. My sprayer works, there we go. This is just a mix of car wash soap and distilled water, for those of you who are curious. So you just have some lubrication. And this weight of your clay bar, these are 100-gram weighted clay bars. So when it's nice and flat, the weight of itself almost acts as your pressure. So all you're doing is just telling it where to go. And like you're washing, you're just moving back and forth in straight lines. And you're just having the clay bar pick up any contaminants that are sort of stuck or have found themselves embedded in the clear coat. And you just go until you reach the end of your area. And then we're going to dry it up. There's also some debate on whether you should do your decontamination steps while you're washing or after you're washing. Again, it's all about a matter of preference. For the sake of time and efficiency, if you're working in a volume-based business and you're looking to just get cars in and out, of course, clay barring and your Iron X steps are great to do right after you wash the car while it's still wet and has soap on it. For the sake of this video and just demonstrating and showing you what we're doing to get Kevin's paint from, I guess, condition A to condition B afterwards, I felt this was the best option. And you just have, I feel like I have better lighting inside to really see where I've been. If there's anything my clay bar didn't pick up and it needs maybe a plastic razor blade or a solvent to actually get it up off the paint before you do any kind of paint work. So, and what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take the clay bar and I'm gonna work like I washed and dried from the top down. Plastics like this, and you either don't wanna touch it or you don't wanna like run your clay bar across here, because there's peaks and valleys in here and you will fill them with clay or compound. So what you're gonna wanna do, take your thumb or your finger and you're gonna put it right here so that you run your finger or your glove against the plastic and not your clay bar. Clay bar is all finished. The car is nice and decontaminated. You can feel it's nice and smooth. You don't hear any contaminants. And now we're ready to start the initial compound stage. Today we're going to be using the Ammo Shear cutting pad developed by Ammo, Larry Casilla and Kevin Brown, aka Buff Daddy. Shout out to both of you for making excellent products. Just a quick touch on this particular one that I'm using, just because I like it so much. You have your wool nap right here to do the majority of your defect removal. And then in the middle here, they've introduced this foam center section to give you nice even pressure when you're working and polishing or cutting, whatever you're doing. And they've introduced this tapered edge, if you can see it, to sort of give you the most structurally sound cut, meaning this edge is not going to collapse. When I apply pressure here, it's still going to stay nice and upright. You see how that sort of moves right there? This tapered edge is sort of doing all of the movement. So you actually have slightly bigger cutting area. We're going to be using, in conjunction with this cutting pad, we're going to be using one of two fluids. We're going to be using Ammo Exfoliate. We're going to give this a shot. It's traditionally made to be used as sort of a compound and polish, and you change your pad according to what you're doing. But we're going to test Exfoliate first, just to see what kind of work it does to Kevin's clear coat right here. If we feel it's sufficient with defect removal and paint clarity and depth, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to compound the truck with Ammo Exfoliate, and then we're going to polish it, and we're just going to change our pad that we're using to the Ammo Waffle polishing pad here. Before we do anything, I'm going to prime my pad with a little bit what I'm going to do, I have a new glove on. It's new. I'm going to sort of butter my pad here a bit. Work it all in so that you don't have any dry wool fibers that may introduce excess heat. And then this is a used towel. Okay, so the pad is primed, it's ready to be used. One thing I'll touch on before I get started here, in conjunction with priming your pad and using the appropriate, polishing media and fluids, is residue control. Whether you use air tools like such, and you use an air compressor and air to blow your pads clean, or you use a more traditional method of residue control like one of these polishing brushes. And these sort of work by, you would hold your machine active, and since this is dirty and this is new, I'm not going to mate them together yet, but I'll show you this later. You would sort of hold them like that to sort of lift and brighten up and loosen any built-up residue inside there. Residue control is very important for giving the best quality cut or polish that you're doing, so that you're not reintroducing globs of old polish compound and you're not swirling them around, because you could leave pigtails behind, and we definitely don't want that. Our goal is to remove the necessary amount of defects to keep as much clear coat on the truck as possible.
A few moments later.
All right, guys, so day 2, Nick has been busting his ass, compounding the hell out of this truck. Finally done. I mean, it almost looks done, but it's not even done yet, so I can't wait till it's finished. What is the next step, Nick?
The next step is we're going to be taking, well, the next step is polish, but just to go into a little bit of depth as to what I'm going to do, I'm taking the Ammo Buff Daddy Waffle foam pad that is basically constructed the same way as their shear cutting pad. You have this tapered edge over here and a nice flat sidewall to give you support for when you actually put pressure on the panel to do the work. And we're going to be using, in conjunction with the pad, the Ammo polishing fluid, exfoliate, to do just that. We're basically exfoliating and refining what we've just compounded. And this cherry red paint on his Ram is going to look absolutely glowing when it's done. And without further ado, we'll get to it.
All right, Nick, we were just talking about contamination control. Tell everybody what you were just discussing.
Residue control meaning whether you are compounding with a wool pad, a foam pad, compound, or you're polishing like we're doing now with a foam pad and a polishing fluid. Residue control means keeping your pad free of not only excess like polishing or compound residue out of your pad so that you don't scour it on the paint. But if you can see, we've been polishing with this Ammo Waffle pad for, let's see, we did the entire front clip, and we almost did, I'd say we did a solid 45% of this, polished 45% of the surface area of the front of this truck already. And this pad, even the edges, you can see, I won't lie, I won't gatekeep, the camera does not lie, even the edges are still nice and straight. you know, you got a couple excess hairs in here every now and then, but the pad is still in essentially the exact same shape as what we started with. And that's important because once you start in an area with a brand new pad, obviously you're gonna wear the pad down a bit as you work, you know, the pad and the fluid into the panel. But the proper residue control is gonna give you the best quality polishing surface consistently as you work around the car. So it's not like you're not gonna look better up here than you did on the door. Like, it's all gonna look consistently the same finish as you're polishing or compounding.
All right, guys, I paused Nick from his work for a second because I want to give you guys a chance to have the opportunity to have your own vehicles worked on. Why don't you tell us what areas you service and how they can get a hold of you?
So we are based out of York County, Pennsylvania. We primarily service York and Adams County, and also northern Baltimore and Carroll County, Maryland. So if you live in and around the area and you like what you see and you'd like similar service, or you know, you just want to pick my brain about what I'm doing, you can get a hold of me on Instagram. It's at nick@dna, and you can also find me on my business website. It's dnaautodetailpros.com, or you can give me a call or text me at my cell phone, 717-885-3853. Send me an email. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate you guys.
All right, final step in the transformation.
So the final step, we are going to be applying a hand coat of Ammo Blush Pro Finishing Wax. And what this is, I'll show you here. It's more of a balm, like a paste type. And really, this is Ammo Reflex Pro properties infused into a hand wax. So you sort of get the water beading like effect of a coating, a paint coating like you would put on, in this case, Ammo Reflex Pro. But you have the finesse and the enjoyment of applying it by hand. I know there's some people who love applying hand waxes to their car, whether it be on the weekend or if, you know, it's something you do in a shop setting, it's a service you offer. This is a great way to just enjoy detailing your vehicle. And it's also great as ceramic coating maintenance if your car is ceramic coated already. Your vehicle doesn't need to be ceramic coated to use this product, but it's gonna sort of meet a high quality paint sealant or, you know, Carenubal wax and a coating sort of right in the middle. And not to mention, it's gonna make this cherry red absolutely glow, and we can't wait to show you the finished product. So without further ado, we'll dive right in.
All right, guys, so after days and even, well, I would say hours, but I'm going to stick with days of Nick working his ass off on this truck, it has turned out phenomenal. This truck looks better than the day my dad pulled it off the dealer's lot. It is deep, it is robust, the metallic flake is so pronounced. I love it.
Yeah.
You did a phenomenal job. I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for letting me work on your truck. And this is really why I do what I do. You know, when you spoke to me about how you inherited this truck, it struck a bit of a chord with me, and I wanted to help you get it in the most deserving condition it could be. So, you know,
very proud of it.
yeah, we'll give you a little rundown of what we did. The entire truck got hand washed, obviously. We cleaned all 4 of the wheels, the wheel wells, all of the door jams. We ran a clay bar around all the painted surfaces to really pull any of the harder embedded contaminants out of the clear coat, so we could get the best compounding and polishing results. Which after 1 round of compound and 1 round of polish, and 1 good quality coat of ammo blush, this is what you get. This cherry red paint looks absolutely to die for. It's delicious. I want to give a special thank you to Larry Casilla, Ammo NYC, for all of your chemicals and products. They exceed my expectations every time I use them. Thank you, Kevin Brown, for collaborating with Ammo on polishing pads, both compound and polish. They are excellent. Any detailers out there, go check them out. Available AmmoNYC.com or Kevin Brown's website. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's out there. Thank you, Kevin, for, of course, you know, giving me a call and reaching out and doing this collaboration. It's been such a treat. This is really the first time I've ever done any on-camera stuff, so you know, bear with me. But it's been a sincere treat, and hopefully we'll do some more of this in the future. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
If you want to see more of this, I am available.
You want to see more of it in person? Bring your car to Nick.
York County, Pennsylvania. Service York County, Adams County, Northern Carroll, and Northern Baltimore County. So, you know, if you're in the area, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, DNA Auto Detail Professionals. Visit my website as well, DNAAutoDetailPros.com. And I hope you have a wonderful and safe trip home. And
thank you, Nick, so much. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on your way out.
Watch her.
Catch you on the next upload.
Yep.